What is up, guys and gals? Welcome to episode number 121 of the Nonsense Review. I'm your host, as always, Devon, and joining me, equally as always, is Rick.
Hello, everyone.
Rick, it's our last episode in the month of June, aka the month of Pride. So you know what that means? That means we need to address our final nod at the rainbow, so to speak. So this week's category is, of course, living influential person. So part of the LGBTQ community, and that basically doesn't fit into any of the other categories. So Rick, who are you going to give a nod to?
I had a bunch of people that I was considering, but after everyone, I swerved massively and picked one Cassandra Peterson.
I don't know who this is, Rick.
Have you heard of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark?
Evilra, maybe? I don't know.
Okay, you might have heard of a parody version of Elvira called Evilra, but yes, the idea is that on screen, she was the gothiest goth, tongue-in-cheek sex pot that there ever was, and off-screen, she had a wife, and it was only relatively recently that she was able to come out. She divorced from her husband in 2003, but she's been living with her partner, well, since 2002, but also been with her for far longer. The reason she didn't come out earlier was because it was cool to be gay at the time, and she didn't want to cheapen it by coming out back then.
I kind of get it, but it's such a weird flux of ideologies, because it really if you look at the history of I don't really know how to word this, but the LGBT community and how they've been treated by society, it's a real flip-flop, especially in show business, on whether it's okay to be gay, you know? You could literally point to years where, I'm pulling numbers out my arse because I haven't got specifics, but 1971, everybody came out as gay because it was the hip popular thing. 1972, no one could talk about it, they will commit career suicide.
Absolutely. And in a similar vein to Dolly Parton, although without quite as much surgery, she is an incredibly good-looking woman for her age. She's 71.
Fair enough, man. I think I know who you're talking about, but I've almost definitely only ever seen parodies of her. The specific one I'm thinking of is The Simpsons with
Boobarella.
Yeah.
Burns has a heart as big as my boobs. But as Elvira, she had the Southern Belle accent and talked like a bimbo and everything, and that was part of the juxtaposition of looking like a goth and talking like a country girl.
Rick, you and I are both suckers for the Southern Belle accent, right?
But yeah, my pick of the rainbow, Cassandra Peterson. How about you? Who is your pick of the rainbow?
My pick of the rainbow is very obviously going to be Stephen Fry.
Yeah, when we were picking these categories, I basically called this the Stephen Fry category until we tried to divide it around Stephen Fry without calling it just the Stephen Fry category.
I don't remember this conversation, but I still think Stephen Fry deserves the nod regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. As the Weeble song puts it, Stephen Fry, national treasure.
I don't remember. Oh, I think that is something we discussed at one point off the podcast.
Yeah.
And then we got into like a 5-minute, 10-minute chat about fucking Magical Trevor, because that's how our minds work.
Well, the same Weeble.
But yeah, why do I want to give a nod to Stephen Fry? Well, he's just a nice guy. I don't know what else you want from me. Like, you could give this award to any number of people who I'd put in like the same caliber as Stephen Fry, in that just a nice guy who happens to be gay, like Graham Norton, etc. Like, they all just seem like pleasant people, you know?
Yes, Stephen Fry is possibly the most influential of them.
For those of you who don't know who Stephen Fry is, he was part of Fry and Laurie. He's a very good comedy guy. Rather intelligent, let's not beat around the bush on that front.
Oh, incredibly.
He can debate, he can be funny, and he was the host of QI for about 13 years.
Yes. He made it exactly halfway through the alphabet, saying that was always his intention, and then handed the torch over to Sandy.
Yeah, which is another person who could equally earn this mention. Let's not beat around the bush, which I will say often.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, Stephen Fry basically jumped on Twitter when Twitter first became a thing and made it his bitch. He knows how to use Twitter like a goddamn genius. I don't know how he's quite navigating the flat platform these days, but you can't exactly compare the Elon Twitter to the Twitter of yesteryear.
Yeah, exactly. I think he left Twitter quite a while ago.
That's fair. I just remember that he was quite savvy with it when it first came out. I believe he had a bitching match with either Ricky Gervais or Piers Morgan and ended it with, talk to you later, darling.
Both sound in character.
Exactly. He knows when to be serious, and he knows when he can interject a bit of tongue-in-cheek.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that does it for our Rainbow Spotlight. Those of you familiar with the podcast know what we usually like to do before we actually review the thing is talk about our weeks and the goings-on in the wide universe. So with that in mind, Rick, how's your week been, buddy?
Well, in a personal note, my folks got back from Israel, and now they're fucked off to France. So I've got a lot of time to myself in the house. The thing that did happen this week, though, was Nintendo Direct. So are you ready for my text dump?
I am.
So, it started with the Pokemon DLC trailer.
Anything actually groundbreaking revealed here, or just, it's coming, here you go?
Nah. They showed us some of the new Pokemon that are in it that we've already seen. So they just showed more of the zones. And the fact that, you can wear the festival clothing for the teal mask, and then back to wearing a uniform for the Indigo Island. Sonic Superstars, which we already know about, is going to have local co-op, and the Chaos Emeralds are essentially Infinity Stones now. Like, each individual one has a power. Like, one of them summons a bunch of clones.
I'm not against the idea, that's fine, but, they've been around for so long, they need to change them up a little bit, I get that, but
yeah,
it's a bit low effort, isn't it?
Well, to a degree, but also, like, they've just been MacGuffins. Having them actually have different powers is neat, and it's weird that it hasn't come up until now.
I bet you it has in an obscure comic.
Oh, yeah, like, going back to the 90s, the grey one was the one that controlled the others.
If you say so, man.
There is a free-to-play farming game called Palia.
Okay.
Looks like something like Animal Crossing, but all humans.
So, none of the charm.
Yeah, pretty much. Persona 5 Tactica. We knew about this before from the Microsoft one, and since then you have revealed to me that they have revealed DLC.
Yeah, they said there's going to be DLC, and it's going to be the two extra characters, Akechi and Yoshizawa, which I think is rather scummy for obvious reasons.
Yep. Still kind of interested to see where it goes, but also, like you said in chat the other day, tired of them milking my baby.
Oh, I mean, I'm still going to play it because it's a tactics game, but Persona themed. That really does tickle my balls. But
yeah,
it's one of those where Switch is certainly not going to be the platform I play it on.
Yeah, I'd rather they fucking calm down. There's a thing called Myth Force. It's a first-person co-op Skyrim type thing, but the art style is based on like 90s, 80s Saturday morning cartoons.
Okay.
So it looks neat. We saw things happening that looked like, basically Skyrim hack and slash being first person. It'll be nice to see how it actually plays and how it actually reviews.
Yeah.
The next thing I've got is something Splatoon before moving on to the new Detective Pikachu.
Okay, so before we're glossing over it, Splatoon does this thing where their seasons are you pick a team, that team coincides with something silly. This time it's favourite ice cream flavour. So I believe the teams are strawberry, chocolate and vanilla. So you pick a team and you represent that team. Whichever team gets the most points in the season, that's the favourite thing. That's what everyone decides is the best. There you go, that's the Splatoon thing.
Yep. And Detective Pikachu, it looks pretty well made. The movie I like. I didn't play the old Detective Pikachu.
I didn't know it was a real game, to be honest. I thought it was just something they made up for a movie. I don't know anything about the game, just like you.
I think it was on like the 3DS or something. But the next one had people actually going mental in chat while I was watching this live. The Super Mario RPG remake.
Yes, I'm excited for this. Do you know why?
Because you never got to play it because it was never released in the UK.
I didn't know it wasn't released in the UK. Regardless, my first console was the PlayStation 1 and it pretty much just evolved from there. So I would never have had the means to play this. I've sometimes been tempted to go back and play it, and I look at it and it's not aged well.
Nah, it's one of those games where they tried to use SNES 3D and it didn't go well. It may have been the last game that Square Enix did with Nintendo, because back then they were...
It was because afterwards Nintendo fucked them on the PlayStation deal, so Sony made PlayStation. That's how the story goes.
Until then, they were basically the Rareware of RPGs, more or less second-party Nintendo. They had exclusivity and they were really good buddies until they weren't. Except with Rare, they were bought rather than, choosing to leave.
Yeah, Sony got dicked over hard on that deal. If they didn't push through and release their own console as a result, they probably would have gone bankrupt. Well, at least the video game division.
Yeah, totally. And we got a mini teaser for something Super Princess Peach in 2024. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the 3DS game, is getting a remaster in 2024.
See, this is the cynic in me, but it feels like we're going to get a lot of this going forward of 3DS, I'm using air quotes, remakes and remasters for the Switch, what with the 3DS store now gone.
Yes, and things generally from, it's now 2 console generations ago, being crushed down onto the Switch hardware. Just Dance, something something, don't care. Silent Hope. It has 7 silent protagonists, and it's a roguelike with crafting. And the only person in the entire world that seems to be able to speak is a princess who speaks to you with psychic powers while encased in a cocoon made of her own tears.
Fun!
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Rick, but I don't actually like roguelites or roguelikes. I've never actually determined which one is the correct pronunciation because I've seen both on the Steam pages.
There's both. Roguelike is when it's very much like Rogue. Roguelite is when they take some mechanics and not others.
Sure. The only one I've liked is Hades, and I like it a lot. I guess Vampire Survivors is kind of a bit similar with the randomness.
Kind of. You got the macro game. I think technically anything that has a macro game is roguelike, because to be true roguelike, you have to basically start from zero each time, apart from your knowledge.
Right. That being said, I think one of the reasons why I don't like them is because there is a shit zillion of them on Steam.
Oh, yeah.
Especially roguelike card builder games. They can fuck off.
Yeah, splitting up a bit, we've got Fae Farm, Hot Wheels 2, Manic Mechanics, which is like Overcooked for cars. Then we get Dragon Quest Monsters, which looks like the actual evolution of Pokemon. Become a monster wrangler on the 1st of December.
Yeah, I might look into this a bit more closer to the time and look at actual trailers, because again, it's one of those where these directs are good at being like, this is the concept of some of the stuff that's coming out. If it tickles your balls, look at the trailer. Yeah.
I mean, these were pretty much trailers for a lot of these. Like this, the Dragon Quest Monsters one was as trailerish as it could be.
Okay, you know what I mean though. Look at the gameplay trailer when it comes out, the proper one that takes 5 minutes.
Pikmin 4 is out on 21st of July. And to celebrate, they released the first 2 games on the eShop as HD remasters. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection.
Don't you just love that? We're celebrating. Here, buy some stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Metal Gear?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection is Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, and the NES games.
Okay.
I think most people would probably say Metal Gear Solid 1 and 3 are generally regarded as the best ones.
Maybe so, but I don't want to buy them again.
Yeah, sure. And you mentioned it in passing, but Vampire Survivors is getting a Switch version, along with couch co-op.
I am genuinely surprised. I shouldn't be that surprised, because by all accounts, it's not the easiest thing to port to the Switch, but it's still a bit surprising it's taken so long. But then again, they got it on the mobile first, which is, I suppose, is the better market.
Oh, definitely. I bought the DLCs on mobile rather than buying them on PC when they were released at the same time. The only reason I bought the PC version was because there were no plans to release the DLC on mobile until they did.
Yeah.
By the time the second DLC came around, they released them at the same time, so I was able to buy it once rather than twice. The couch co-op is apparently coming to all versions, except possibly the mobile phone, as you might expect. But like you say, the thing that is weird to me is that the Switch didn't get their port the same time that mobile did, because the Switch is essentially a not very good tablet from 2017. It wasn't good then in terms of tablet hardware, and that's basically the same infrastructure as a mobile phone chipset, so it shouldn't be that difficult to port from mobile to that.
I mean, I'm going to have to assume that it's more difficult than we know about, if only because I don't know the specifics. I really don't. I'm not going to pretend to, Also, it might not even be a case of the actual port being difficult so much as Nintendo being little bitches about how to split the money. And yeah, I don't mind taking shots at Nintendo. It is definitely punching up.
Headbangers Rhythm Royale.
This looks fun.
Yeah, it's an online pigeon rhythm action minigame fest. It's out on Halloween.
Weird release choice, but whatever. I'm looking forward to it. It does just look like a bit of fun.
Penny's Big Breakaway is the 3D exploration action game. It's made by the Sonic Mania team. It's coming out early 2024. I think this looks neat. I will be keeping my finger on the pulse. Then again, I also thought Yooka-Laylee looked neat and bought that. So my opinions are flawed. Star Ocean 2 is getting a remake. It's getting a hybrid thing of a 3D world. The original sprites are being upscaled, but still very obviously sprites. And the story scenes are getting like really high quality illustrations for a visual novel style. So hopefully that's fun. And then to shit on Headbangers, we get WarioWare on the 3rd of November.
Yeah, I skipped the last WarioWare game, so I'll be definitely looking at this one. WarioWare's always been fun. I did like the DS one quite a lot.
Another thank you, buy more is Zelda and Ganondorf amiibos are here to thank us for enjoying Tears of the Kingdom. And the last one is Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which includes Peach and Daisy as playable characters, Elephant Mario, and Wonder Flowers that make things go fucky, like pipes becoming sentient.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It's been too long since we've had a 2D Mario.
It looks like the new Super Mario Brothers for Wii U.
But yeah, someone actually released an interesting infographic, and that is 2D Mario games that came out during presidencies. 1 came out during George Bush, about 5 came out during Obama, none came out during Trump, and 1's now come out during Biden. So it's been at least 5 years.
Yeah, there were quite a few during Bush, I believe.
There was 1.
Was it only 1?
Yeah, it was the new Super Mario Bros. For the DS, so it would have been near the tail end of his presidency as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, it doesn't really matter. It was just a funny infographic.
Yeah, I could have sworn there was more than that, but yeah, sure. Fair enough.
Especially seeing as the person posting it was just like, in case you need to judge how bad presidencies are, don't look at the political stuff, just look at how many Mario games came out.
But yeah, because not much else has happened to me, how about you? How have you been? How's your week been? And what have you seen out in the wide world?
Alrighty, cool. First things first, I've watched a fuck ton of documentaries this week.
Have you?
I don't know why. I just got sucked in and just started watching stuff. So I'm not going to tell you every single thing I watched because that would be dull. But I will tell you this one. I stumbled upon the Internet Historian's YouTube channel, which is great. I binged a bunch of his stuff, including the Sinking of Concordia. The one that really hooked me was the Internet Historian's video, Man in Cave.
Okay.
It was about a guy called Floyd Collins in the 1920s who got stuck in a cave. And it's quite a sad story. It's also quite frustrating because the guy keeps getting copyright struck for the video, so it keeps getting taken down. So someone completely unrelated to him was like, I saved this video, and he keeps re-uploading it every fucking day so people can keep watching it until the Internet Historian fixes the issues. And I've seen the video. I don't know what can possibly be getting flagged.
Yeah, fair enough.
On Netflix, I watched a documentary about the anthrax attacks, which is something that affected America just after the 9/11 bombings. Well, I guess it wasn't bombings, but the terrorist attack. It's a weird one, isn't it, Rick? Because you and I are British. We were both very much conscious and aware of 9/11 when it happened. I mean, I remember I was at school and everyone on the playground fucking freaked out because we were kids. We had no idea what the fuck was happening. And this was the early days of smartphones as well. Only a few people had them at best.
Oh, I had a Nokia 3310.
I had a Siemens. That's a brand that don't even exist no more.
Yeah, I was at least a year or two into my Nokia at that point, and I remember my mum giving me a call when I was at the train station at school, waiting for it, and she gave me a very segmented version of what had happened because nobody knew.
I'm also very aware of how your mum gives off information at the best of times.
Yeah, even when she knows what's going on, she refuses to get to the fucking point.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but Rick said it, so it's fine.
The number of times I just had to tell her to skip ahead.
I do that with people in my life as well. It's a trait some people have. It's fine. Some might say it's a trait we have doing this podcast every week.
But we don't just say something as a way to keep us being the one talking, at least very often. Like, yes, I did say it during listing a bunch of shit from Nintendo Direct because I wasn't bothered about Hot Wheels 2 or Fae Farm.
I think there are some times where I will say some gobbledygook, but it usually gets cut out by the time the episode comes out. But that's not me waffling, that's my brain melting.
Yeah, just taking more time while telling the story to make sure that you knew that the story took a long time to create. Oh, but yeah, go ahead, sorry.
But yeah, the anthrax attacks. We didn't really know much about this because it wasn't big news in Britain, whereas in the States there was quite a panic over it, and rightly so. Anthrax is terrifying.
It is.
The documentary was pretty well put together. I thought it was very good. It was very informative. I will take the ultimate verdict as to who done it with a huge grain of salt because it's very apparent that they had no 100% definitive proof. What occurred? There's a lot of conjecture. I think they probably were on the right track and it was in fact the person they pinned it on. But, nothing is unbiased and it seems like they were working very hard hard to make this dude look like the suspect. It doesn't help that the dude in question is also dead and cannot defend themselves.
Sure.
So, take it with a pinch of salt is all I'm saying. Still a good documentary otherwise. Bunch of postal workers got completely dicked over, and I can't help but feel like it was because they were predominantly black. The reason I say this is buildings with white people in, if they suspected anthrax, were evacuated within hours. This postal sorting office had potential anthrax exposure, which we now know was actual anthrax exposure, and they were still working there for 2 whole fucking weeks before saying, okay, we're going to suspend operation for a little bit, which, they don't say it in the documentary, but every single worker from that place that they interviewed was black. Yeah. So I don't know how you can look at that without thinking, did they just not give a fuck because of that? And seeing as it's America and they have histories of issues, it made me uncomfortable. In other news, I watched the first episode of Secret Invasion.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to stick with it because I pay for Disney Plus and it's a thing to watch, but the first episode did a really poor job of hooking me. It wasn't particularly enjoyable.
Yeah, apparently due to the cold open, there's a good 8 minutes of content before people get pissed off at the AI art opening.
Okay. I want to actually address... I was just going to leave well alone, but you brought it up, which means I can open this can of worms. I'm annoyed at people being annoyed because they look at clickbaiting headlines and they don't dive any further. Now, you know me, Rick, I don't really like AI-generated art that much because I feel like a lot of it just gets spammed everywhere and there's no real heart in it.
Yeah.
That being said, everyone seems to be glossing over the fact that this artwork was done by a company. They had artists on staff draw art and then they put it through their AI art machine to make it look fractured. No jobs were lost here. AI was being used in the quote-unquote ethical way.
Yeah, so the reason why it looks shit is that they've only got a very small number of source items because they've only got their own bank of art that they pulled from.
No, again, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. They drew images and they put it through an AI to make it distorted and fractured. They didn't feed it work to make a new piece. They put pieces into it they made specifically for the intro and had the AI fuck it up.
Sure.
So there's nothing wrong with that use of AI. No one's lost a job there, like I said. I don't get me wrong, I think people should still be worried and have their finger on the pulse when it comes to AI stealing jobs, especially from creatives, because that's the wrong direction we should be going.
Yeah, and it's incredibly tone deaf to release this with AI art now when the Writers Guild strike is happening specifically about AI creation.
No, I think you're missing the point still, because again, AI's not bad, you just can't use it to replace people, which they haven't done. I get what you're saying with the tone deaf thing to a certain degree, but I think it's a different argument. They've not replaced a person with a machine, they've used a machine as a tool. There's a big difference between the two aspects. Don't get me wrong, the fundamental crux of things is the art still looks shit.
Yeah.
So, I remember when I watched the opening crawl and I went, that looks really bad. Why does it look so bad? And yeah, because they wanted it to look distorted and scroll-like, but it just didn't look good.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my mini rant, mostly because, again, I can't stand it when people read headlines and then nothing else.
Sure.
It's very quick to form an angry opinion. It's almost as if, the industry's funded on it. Anyway, Final Fantasy 16's out, Rick.
It is. I have stayed very clear. Have you been playing it at all?
I played it a little bit. I played it up until the point of the advanced demo, in that, you know how I said there was a time skip, so you could play with toys later on?
Yeah, it goes from prologue to, middle of chapter 2. Or
yeah, there's about 3 or 4 hours, actually probably a bit less. I'm pulling numbers up my arse. There's a couple of hours between the prologue and the point of the demo. The interesting thing is, in the demo, you have access to a lot more abilities, and I'm like, this is weird, because we're fighting the person who has the power of the thing that we already have. And yeah, in the game, you only have your base powers, and you obtain the next level powers when you beat that boss, and you take them from the boss. And it's like, cool, that explains a lot. It also means that this boss fight took about 5 minutes longer than it did in the tutorial. Not tutorial, sorry, demo.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. I'm liking the plot beats. I feel really bad for this first boss. I don't feel any anger towards them. I just feel sorry for them.
Sure.
And I think that's purposeful decision. Rick, you ready for some news?
Yeah, let's go.
Here's the first one. It's a bit weird. Striking while the iron is cold. Crash Bandicoot figures out now.
Oh, yeah, I had to pass that you were saying striking while the iron is cold.
Well, it's one of those weird ones where I was just watching TV, and it's not something I do very often, and there was an advert for brand new Crash toys. I don't know when Crash 4 came out, but I swear it's been years.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the fuck that's about, and it's specifically Crash 4 toys as well. They've got the masks, they've got the Crash 4 designs. I will admit, I do like the idea of these mystery boxes where it comes in a Crash Bandicoot crate, you smash the crate open, and then you get your toy. That's a cool little gimmick, but...
That is cute.
Boy, is this a waste of... not a waste of time, but certainly a waste of potential.
Yeah, totally.
In other news, Rick, Reddit continues to be a fun place.
Oh, yeah. Haven't they turned everything into not safe for work mode right now? Like, in protest?
It's their attempt at protest, yes, because, fun fact, you can't put advertisements on a not safe for work subreddit.
Yeah.
I first discovered this because I was browsing through the Reddit, as you do, and I saw a not safe for work post on R Interesting as Fuck, and I was like, what's this? Clicked to open. Oh, that's a pussy.
Yep.
And it turns out the first wave of this protest was a bunch of OnlyFans girls just flooding R Interesting as Fuck with their photos. Advertising as well, but mostly photos, and boy were they good ones.
Sweet.
But yeah, pretty much every subreddit has gone not safe for work. The reason why they've switched to this as opposed to the blackout is because the guy in charge of Reddit has basically just been messaging and using his team to message all these mods on different subs that, hey, if you keep your subreddit private, we will get rid of you and replace you, which is the most nothing threat ever, and yet people still capitulated.
Yep.
Oh, you don't get to have your little bit of power in your little corner of the internet anymore. Oh no, I can't lose this, which is kind of sad.
It is a bit. And also when they said that it had no discernible effect on income, probably because they're not making any money anyway, and that's why they went forward with these draconian measures to begin with.
Like, there's certain subreddits that, I don't know, I'm not even going to begin to speculate. It's just one of those things where I'm enjoying it right now because I'm a pervert, but... Like, D&D memes is currently having a war between goblin lovers and kobold lovers, which is very funny.
Oh, that's actually cute. But Linus Tech Tip says that we've seen what Reddit can do. If you organize a bunch of boneheads in the same direction, they can achieve great things. Why not just harness that instead of mobilizing them against you?
Oh, because the guy in charge of Reddit has actively said that he's looked at Twitter with Elon Musk taking over, and he wants that.
Yeah. He wants the Musk,
which is not a good idea.
He probably also wants everyone to have Reddit Premium.
It may be, I don't know, but that's a stupid expectation. Everything that's ever got done locking things behind a paywall has always floundered if it was free to begin with.
Yes. Like, people are okay with paying more for something that they've always had to pay with. People are not okay with suddenly having to pay for something that was always free.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, people are willing to endure ads if it means they get something for free. But yeah, Rick, let's talk about the big story this week, really, because it happened and it's now over. The tourist sub Titan debris was found on the ocean floor. It's gone. All 5 people aboard are dead. It's one of those really weird things where there's a distinct... something happened really early on in the story, and that was people getting annoyed about the fact that this was getting so much media attention compared to a migrant boat sinking off the coast of... I want to say it was Italy. It was definitely in the Mediterranean Sea, so...
Yeah, it was either Italy or Greece, but yeah, like 100 people confirmed dead from...
No, 100 people confirmed saved.
Oh, okay.
There's about 300 plus missing. But yeah, there's something I want to shed a light on here, because there's something that some people don't understand. There's 2 factors. One, media likes to sensationalize a headline, and boy, was this a sensational one.
Yes.
2, the sinking of the ship happened in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it was done. There was reports made, it made the news, whereas the Titan sub, up until basically them finding the debris, there was still an element of hope. People wanted to know more. And one of the most interesting things about the media diving into this story, pun not intended, I promise, is that
I believe you.
They've been basically digging into the CEO and the company of OceanGate, and this thing was doomed from the beginning. There was just so little attention on it that there was no one there to stop them.
Yeah, the guy's like on TikTok saying things like, yeah, after a certain point there's no point in safety, and yeah, people are remembered for the rules that they broke, not for the rules that they followed.
There's just so many many things wrong with this. It never got certification. There was very little official stuff they had done. They had a guy on staff who was a professional when it came to this. I forget his exact history, but I believe he was a submariner, which is someone you want on your staff for this sort of thing. They asked him to inspect the craft, and he fucking went through it with a fine-tooth comb, because it was his fucking job. There was lives on the line. He looked over every fucking inch of the submarine and listed every little fault as to why this should not go as deep as they wanted it to go. What happened? The CEO went, you're fired.
Yep. Doesn't want to hear the truth, just wants to hear what he has said in someone else's voice.
The most tragic thing about this story is the fact that it was incredibly preventable and it just didn't get prevented. And yes, that's a poor way of phrasing it. I know, I don't care. It really is the crux.
Yeah, there was a million points at which someone could have chosen to do the right thing. And unfortunately, at almost all those points, that someone was the CEO, who is a provable cunt. And I don't use that word lightly.
The only saving grace is, at least he believed his bullshit enough to be the one piloting it, so at least he suffered the same consequences.
Sure.
I don't think it's much of a saving grace, I really don't, but it's something. And another saving grace is, this madness will not be repeated. I firmly believe that we're probably not going to see any more voyages to the Titanic wreckage. Not that there's much to learn. As far as I'm concerned, what these tourists, and that's what they were trying to see was a mass grave.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing down there to see that you can't already see footage of, you know? It's just such a baffling thing to do, you know? Also, let's just fucking highlight it, because the funniest part of this story before the worst actually was confirmed was the fact that he steered it with a controller, but not just any controller, it was a Logitech controller.
It was the shit one that you give to your cousin when they come round. Oh.
It's one of those where he charged $250,000 per head for a space on this submarine, and he fucking couldn't afford the extra $30 to get a real Xbox controller,
or a steering wheel.
I don't know, man. I don't think using a controller is the ultimate flaw, because like the fucking military does it.
Oh yeah, the military does it specifically for drones, because the people using it tend to be our age and younger, and they already know their way around a controller, so it's very easy to get to grips with those controls rather than training them on something that is like purpose-built. A video game controller is a solved problem for controlling things that only need that amount of control.
But I also think a video game controller is probably one of the best ways to navigate in 3D space, which, let's be honest, the ocean is.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, we'll not dwell on it much further, to be honest. I'm not quite so venomous about the people who have lost their lives, but I will end it on saying there's no such thing as a good billionaire. So, just a reminder, the only person I feel sorry for is the 19-year-old kid, because there's no way he could have done anything too egregious.
Yeah.
Okay, Rick, here's a bit of a weird story that I wasn't expecting. Holuva Boss Episode 8 is coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, so you blindsided me with this. I was completely not expecting this. I don't think anyone was, especially after all, the statement. So yeah, I will be waiting on this with bated breath. By the time you see this episode, it will be out.
Yeah, Vizzy-Pop herself has described it as a big bang explosion.
Yeah, and the next season 2 episode is going to be hot on its heels, apparently.
Yeah, which we've seen some screenshots. We've seen a picture of Millie looking dashing, but more importantly, oh god, it gets my boner going, Moxie in drag again. Yeah, the last thing I've got to say is, these are weird stories, but they always are when they come to this prick. Elon Musk claims that the words cis and cisgender are now slurs, which, no, they're not.
Okay, I can see where he's coming from. It's wrong, but I can see it.
No, because by that logic, the word trans is a slur, which it isn't.
No, it's not. Like, I tend to say the word transgender, just make sure that people know exactly what I'm talking about, but yeah.
It's just a way of describing someone. It's a way of identifying. I don't go around telling people I'm cis, because I feel like it's rather redundant. I'm pretty sure most trans people don't go around telling people they're trans, because it's also redundant.
Yeah.
It's just a word. Now, the reason why Elon Musk is banning it is because he doesn't like it. He doesn't like people calling him cis or cisgender, because he thinks it's an insult, which it isn't, because Elon Musk is a crazy person.
Yeah, he thinks people are calling him a sissy.
You're a proper fucking mongoloid if you think that. Staying on Elon, apparently he's going to have a fight with Mark Zuckerberg in a cage.
Good. There's going to be a loser.
Yeah, and it's going to be Elon Musk.
Actually, I don't know. He's got some. He's got a bit of ape strength behind him.
Okay, but ape strength can't make up for the fact that Mark Zuckerberg actually knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Does he? Okay.
Which, by the by, if you're not familiar, is designed for to allow smaller people to take on bigger opponents.
Sure.
It's one of those where I don't care. I'm not going to watch this. I hope one of them gets really badly fucking hurt, because it's better than they deserve. Quite frankly, I don't think it's actually going to see a cage. I don't think it's actually going to happen. They're just talking shit on their social media platforms, and they're going to make more money. But that money is going to be a tuppence compared to what they get on a daily basis anyway.
Yeah.
It's a weird fucking story. It's so weird that Dana White himself has interjected saying, oh yeah, I'll promote the shit out of this. What are we doing today?
Today, we're doing something that has been kind of on the cards for quite some time. We've been putting it off ever since it was released. It's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. It's available on the Disney Channel's main YouTube site.
Yes, we're using that instead of Disney Plus because Rick's Disney Plus has currently expired.
Yeah, when we switched providers, the only thing that we didn't get was Disney Plus. Everything else has gone down by 50 quid a month, but we're going to have to buy Disney Plus, so it averages out at 40 quid a month saved. So, yeah, if you want to join along with us at home, it's 3, 2, 1, and go.
Rick also tells a bit of a lie. We were going to do this when it first came out, and then on the day of recording, it was like, oh, fuck, it's 45 minutes instead of 20. I've got some things to do today. Let's do something else.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And then we just forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing about these characters.
The only thing I know about these characters is that Devil Dinosaur is a very good Marvel Snap card.
Okay.
And Moon Girl combos with him, but Devil Dinosaur works on his own.
Sure.
And this is our Moon Girl. Even when she's in her superhero form, she still uses the rollerblades.
Sure.
Sorry, roller skates. Now, there's not a lot of plot to react to, but I'm kind of digging the art style.
It's certainly unique. I'm getting, Spider-Punk in Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
It's sort of in the same vein.
Yeah, obviously, like each individual's frame looks like it's been scribbled.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this came out first.
Yes. And it's also not the first thing to be a scribbled art style.
Yeah.
Oh man, the one at the back looked a bit like Snuffy.
Fair enough.
I don't know any of those words.
So that's why she's on the skates, because her family owes a skating ring.
Ah, yes, like the roller derby. Oh, okay, cool. She's a techno genius.
That sounds like a bad idea. You got to give.
At least it's roller skating and not ice skating.
Oh, absolutely. You got to give the guy credit though, because 95% of business is just shooting the shit and putting ideas out there. The idea might be terrible, but the important thing is that you're thinking.
Yeah. Just little bits of innovation that may or may not work out.
Like, I shit on Funko Pop all day because I think Funkos are a terrible product, but they are quite innovative in their own little sphere.
Mm-hmm. Man. Integrity for giving people the money back for something that's not your fault.
Yeah, no, if anything, what you'd actually do in that scenario is give out vouchers just like come back another night.
Yeah, because as a family living hand to mouth, you probably can't afford to give all that money back right now.
No. Also, there's the possibility that not everyone paid with cash.
Yep. And if there's a back out, you cannot give credit card transactions back until it's back online.
So I'm going to assume that the blackouts are responsible, the results of the first supervillain, who I think we're seeing now.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm aroused.
Yeah, it looks to be a slightly more flamboyant Electro.
Is that even a demonstration of skill at that point? I don't think that's something you can do just by feel, because you need to see the colours, surely.
Unless I think she saw the colours to begin with, and she's doing it by feel because she knows what the solution is by rotation.
That's some bullshit.
I know, right?
Oh, that's too real, isn't it? The gym teacher's just helping out in the science class because they can't be asked to hire a proper teacher.
Yeah. We had a maths teacher who was a gym teacher. He was for the people who weren't allowed to take the GCSE that let you get a good mark.
Ah. Yeah, I fucking hate that about our fucking GCSE system.
Yeah, like the foundation GCSE.
Yeah. Like
teachers set you up to fail by letting you take the one that lets you get the lower grades. Because the upper grades one is A to C, and if you get lower than a C, you just fail it.
Yeah, I kind of get it. It makes sense from a certain point of view, but it's kind of bullshit. Just make one test. It's like, well, we can't just make one test, because blah, 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 blah. Oh, fuck off.
I understand why you can't just make one test for certain things, because you need granularity. You need to be able to take marks off and award marks for things.
But Rick, with maths, it's a bit different, because math is, yes, you got it right, or yes, you didn't, or no, you didn't.
Yeah.
And not to be rude, Rick, but maths is quickly becoming, I wouldn't say redundant, you need to know it for your day-to-day life, certain things. But I think you can also relate to this in that you need to learn this, guys. You won't have a calculator on you at all times.
The biggest lie told in modern times, yeah.
And also, like, if your job relies on maths, you have a calculator.
Yep. Yep. Although, like you said, it's one of the most badass things to see in movies, but also they do it IRL, of just an astronaut just doing maths on the side of the rocket because they don't have anywhere else to write things down, and they have to make these calculations now or they die.
I mean, you're saying that. You know, I mentioned that documentary from the internet historian, Man in Cave.
Yeah.
There was a man who showed up to the rescue attempt at about 100 hours in, and he needed to suddenly dig their new plan was to just dig a hole on the other side of him so they could pull him out like that. So he just took a piece of paper and a pencil and started doing maths. This is how many guys I have. This is how much they can dig per second. If we do everything perfectly, we can get to him in 30 hours. If we get to him in 30 hours, he's still alive and we win. Which is badass, doing maths that quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't this super fucking illegal, by the way, creating your own power generator?
Yes, but like the reason it's illegal technically is because it's massively dangerous to do something like this completely unregulated. But also in America there is legality of things like we're just glossing over the fact that devil dinosaurs appeared. Things like you don't own the water that falls on your house, because that takes money away from the water company that supplies you.
Well, that's different, because America's a capitalist hellhole.
Yes.
But I just meant, like, even in Britain, it would be illegal to just create a power generator.
Mm-hmm.
By the by, I totally can't relate to these issues that modern-day teenagers and kids have of the fact that they just have social media.
Yeah. Apparently there's a thing called the millennial pause. And it's when you start recording or whatever, and you just pause to make sure that it's working. whereas Zoomers will just start talking because A, they've had things that always worked, and B, they probably just don't care if they miss the first, half syllable.
There's nothing wrong with a paranoia check. That being said, I'd like to think that our our podcast is a bit more obviously it's not professional. We don't make money from it, but I'd like to think it's a bit more professional than people making random TikToks. Is that really how she bonds with Dinosaur? A few hot dogs.
Yeah, and he's the first. Well, she's the first one that he bonds with, so that makes the difference.
Sure. The loyalty of a dog is earned by treats.
Yep. And the loyalty of a dino is earned by hot dog.
That's still a treat.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Man, it's just the New York toilet dinosaur thing, isn't it?
Yeah, dinosaur toilet alligators.
Toilet alligators. The good old laugh at the person who tells you the exact truth trope.
There's a certain age people, a certain type of person will get to, and it's just like, my job is now to make sure you are so full you can't walk.
Yeah. It's almost exclusively grandmas.
Yeah, that tends to be the trope, but it doesn't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So she's not the original Moon Girl.
Unless she is.
What, you think there might be some timey-wimey fucky-wucky?
Well, I don't know. I think she might be, it might be timey-wimey, or she might just be being kind of humble right now.
The picture was clearly an older woman. You know, a woman, not a teenager.
Yeah, but it was also an imagination picture.
What do you... Well... I am liking the dinosaurs' reactions.
Yeah, they're all emojis. That might be actually, true to life of the comic as well.
Give it some wings, it's basically a Rathalos.
Yeah.
Yeah, works for a lot of Marvel superheroes, funny enough. Like, how many, I feel like the majority of superheroes in Marvel have super intellect.
Yeah, it moves the plot to a degree, and it makes you less frustrated with them when, they can have a bad idea and run with it in the wrong direction. But that's entertaining, as opposed to just being an idiot and blundering into everything, which gets old pretty quick.
Imagine the nerve having a fucking business card at 13.
Man, yeah, I think we all knew that prick, didn't we?
No, not in real life.
Okay. There was at least a few of them at my school.
Sure. Is this going to be the guy in the chair?
Maybe. Okay, I know she's not bad, but this seems to be like a good Andrea.
Sure.
The popular girl just like muscling her way in.
You gotta have some drip if you're gonna be saving the planet.
Hmm.
Man, we could do one of those, couldn't
Unfortunately,
we?
Casey. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, Casey, it doesn't work in universe or out of universe because we hadn't heard of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur until they were teased.
Hmm. I also don't think we're the target market.
Maybe not. Another ad break, which there aren't on YouTube, but you know.
Well, reveal to the world that we use AdBlock, as everyone should.
Yeah. Don't go raw dogging the internet.
Gross. The inflating boxing glove is a neat idea, but I don't think it's going to help you that much unless there's some like pneumatic energy to it.
It's cute, at least.
I'm not quite sure about the blue and yellow, but and again, it's just
That's
Wolverine,
just X-Men
isn't it?
again, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's just classic 90s X-Men. And she's got emotive goggles.
I like the detail that her legs don't move because she's on the skates.
Yeah.
So hey, what if Spider-Man didn't take pictures of himself and he had someone else do it for him?
Yeah.
I'm
Oh.
I'm really digging the little emoticons that keep popping up.
Hmm.
Oh, eating trash, buddy. Oh no.
Man, he's getting he's getting cuter by the minute. Oh!
Like, not to be rude, but who's gonna take a fucking 12-year-old seriously when they say I'm a superhero? At least they didn't fucking like whack her with crowbars.
Yep. Especially after they got covered in trackable paint.
Did they?
Yeah, the blue paint that they got squirted with.
Oh right, yeah, that happened earlier, so it's kind of already slipped my mind.
Yeah, it's like good old thief dye. Power of sausages will train you.
I was gonna say, I certainly hope that Devil Dinosaur is not sentient, because otherwise this is degrading.
Either that or he just really likes it.
Which is worrying. I don't judge people for their fetishes, but that's weird. Okay, guys, that's probably going to be wiped out from the episode, but I just had a sneezing fit because it's hay fever season.
It is.
It worked for the devil gene.
Yeah.
Wait, it's been like a week and they still haven't fucking cleaned up the paint.
Apparently not.
Fucking idiots.
Halal sausage.
Wait, what? That can't be possible. Unless it's made of turkey.
It could be. One of the local things is the local subway a Muslim subway or a Polish subway? And if it's a Polish one, you get real bacon.
Okay.
He would have got away with it too if he hadn't have been next to Casey.
Sure. How the fuck did she make that?
I don't know, because by all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, that's a decent name.
It is actually, yeah.
So why is she still in power? That's the question.
I don't know. I think it's just to fuel being an electric lady.
No, it's got to be a bit more than that, because there's ways to do that without drawing attention to yourself.
Sure. Either that or she's trying to make the area run down so she can,
It wasn't a made-up picture, it's a real one.
Okay, it is a real picture.
I thought it was, but I didn't want to argue with you because I was kind of out of it.
There you go, that's your shot. And Casey.
And that's the end of that would be the end of the first episode, and the first episode wasn't 2 episodes long.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, when she was, not having a name, that does track that she's not calling herself Moon Girl yet. Although she is now. When she was talking about the super cool lady who made the super cool generator plans.
Which is why I said, she's not the original Moon Girl then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that dog will be terrified.
Yep. Although, why was he in a tree to begin with?
Don't ask questions. The more questions you ask, the less sense it makes.
Man, I love how video gamey it is right now. They're just doing side quests until the bar fills up, and then they can progress with main story quest.
Man, fuck you. That fucking skipping rope minigame in FF9 was evil.
Yep.
Subtle.
Man, a lot of Final Fantasy minigames are not good. However, if you don't have them, it feels empty.
Yeah. I'm not going to pretend to like the Frog Quest or Chocobo Hot and Cold, but it'd be weird not to have them.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck Chocobo Hot and Cold.
Oh, we saw her not being electric, to a degree.
Oh, she's powering up.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we are.
God damn, I would smash.
Totally.
I'm going to assume she's an adult. She certainly looks like one.
Especially in this art style.
Yeah.
Because the kids are 13.
Although, if we're being truly honest, the person I want to smash the most is the mum. Even though she's kind of grandma age. I don't care. You know I'm weird.
Yeah, I'm going with Aftershock.
It's not a real question.
True. Like, you're not going to get anything out of it, but yeah.
I think it's going to be a situation where you're fucking Aftershock in her human form. She suddenly goes electric when she comes, and then you get electrocuted to death, and then she's like, well, that's another body for the pile.
Yep.
Whereas if you go with Moon Girl's mum, you know you're getting blueberry pie after.
Yeah. As if she couldn't tell from her height to begin with.
Fuck, that looked quite bad.
Yeah, it broke his heart. You could tell by the emoji.
Yeah. Yeah, funny enough, Devil Dinosaur probably hasn't encountered electricity before.
No. Or anything that can kick his ass.
Oh, he's fucked up. Look at a giant fucking bendy straw.
Yeah, curly straw, yeah. Man, Devil Dinosaur eating the humility that comes with the hubris of the unkicked ass.
I will say this, I am a fan of the trope of villain finds out person they're fighting is child, hesitates, because it's always just like, oh, you're just a kid. Maybe I should probably take it easy on you. And then you've also got the subversion of, oh, you're just a kid. Sucks to be you.
Yeah. Hmm.
Probably the most rational response. Okay, that's not the worst analogy, but boy, is this a mistake putting this coach into science.
Yeah, the coach is doing his best.
Oh, she's changed her hair.
Yeah, it's no longer white.
Oh, right, yeah, she's seen her face. I actually completely forgot that aspect. That's a cool shot.
My nemesis is my teacher.
If anyone's not impressed by that little standoff, they're wrong.
Well, she did say she had a day job.
True. It really is. Being pretty really does give you an advantage with a lot of things.
I don't know if she's going to be the villain for most of the series, or she's going to get disarmed in episode 1 and just become kind of like a friendly nemesis.
We've still got like 12 minutes and some change. I suspect that she's dealt with by the end of this episode.
And just becomes kind of friendly.
I don't think she'll be friendly. I think she'll still hate our main character. But... That's not how grades work, lady.
Apparently in America it is. You can just choose not to like someone.
Yeah, did you just see Naruto?
Kid.
We both saw the same fucking thing. But no, the thing I was saying was you don't get a grade every day is what I meant. Oh, that entire class was Naruto's. You had Sakura at the front.
Fair enough, yep.
It wasn't a thing for
Naruto was in the middle, so that's the one I noticed first.
Absolutely. It wasn't a thing during our generation, because Naruto wasn't really a thing when we were in secondary school. But apparently, once Naruto became a thing, classrooms were fucking flooded by Naruto reebs.
Ah, yes.
Like, everybody knew one who did a Naruto run down the hallways and wore the headband every day.
Mm-hmm.
Which...
And everyone who had a headband wore it in a different way to emulate one of the different characters.
Oh.
Like, some of them will wear it on the neck, like Sasuke, to be edgy, and some of them will wear it over one of their eyes to be like one of the guys who've got one eye, like Kakashi or whatever.
I'll have to take your word for that one. I didn't dive too much into... I just know that everybody seems to know a kid in high school who was a Naruto nerd, and therefore... And everyone knew it because they wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. Naruto nerds are the new vegans.
Oh. Well, okay. The difference is, the Naruto nerds don't even need to tell you that they're a Naruto nerd. They just show.
I've got to be honest with you, Rick. I wanted to shout that because I thought it was a good title.
Whereas, how do you know someone's vegan? They'll tell you.
Did you see the not so subtle darkening of the background?
Yeah.
That teddy bear looks concerned.
It does.
All by myself.
Oh, go give her a hug.
Imagine putting your grades before the safety of your city.
Yeah.
Aw.
He's on the mend, at least.
Yeah. Oh, look, that's what we're going to be doing next week.
Yeah.
No, you can't send him back.
Oh, he's purring. Yeah, he doesn't get weenies on demand back home. He has to actually hunt. He's doing the thing of alienating everybody, and it's... However, it is only episode 1, so it's going to get better.
I got nothing to say because this is just legitimately sad.
It is, isn't it?
Like, and I'm sure it's trying to invoke it on purpose, but like all I'm thinking of is my dog.
Yeah. Because as we know, all cartoon animals are dogs.
This one's acting like a dog, bro.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's a trope that all cartoon animals just act like and can be trained like dogs.
Man, there's also a subtle implication as well that even though it's a superpowered being doing it, but because the community is quite clearly Hispanic, or yeah, it's got to be Hispanic or Latino, right? Because they speak Spanish.
It could just be like Miles, where it's like ingrained that you've got everything going on, like a cultural melting pot.
Sure. But the main gang is what I meant. You know, the family we are following. Yeah. But because it's a community of basically not white people, is what I'm getting at. Is why the government isn't actively going like, hey, there's a ton of power cuts here. Do you not think we should probably find out why?
Yeah, I think the main family is kind of transplanted Black Cajun.
Oh, I would have generally assumed it was Puerto Rican.
Sure. Well, the surname is Lafayette, which is obviously a French name, which is very common in Cajun culture.
A very famous pirate.
Mm.
Oh wait, except his name was pronounced Lafitte.
Yep.
John Lafitte. If you want to look up a pretty cool pirate who sailed rivers rather than oceans and seas, look up John Lafitte. He's the pirate who's well known for the fact that he got a $1,000 bounty put on his head by the governor of Louisiana. So he offered 10 times the reward for the Louisiana governor's head.
Yep.
Which, you know, is a pretty fucking baller move.
Yeah. Well, that's cute.
That's depressing. But I also think quite telling for the problems that the generation faces. Because, you know, you can be as popular as you want on social media, but that doesn't mean dick.
Mm. Oh, do you see her pillow has got nearly her name in chemical elements?
I was more focusing on the heart that's two different heart pillows sewn together.
Sure.
I didn't actually throw away shit.
It is actually difficult to throw away your creations sometimes.
Oh, trust me, I know.
So
I still haven't... We've got that one episode of the podcast that will never see the light of day, but I've never deleted it. It still exists. Oh, the height of hubris.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah. That's just the right level of fourth wall breaking for me. One of them people just sounded like Beavis and or Butthead. Man, I might be revealing that I'm a bit more fucked up, but her looking tired and ragged is actually more appealing than when she's perfect. The electric lady, that is.
I like when she was, getting a buzz.
Yeah. How strong is that dude? He lifted up a whole group of people.
Cartoon physics strong. Yeah, she's remodeled the cassette player, not knowing that it used to be a cassette player.
Yeah. Hey, kudos for someone who's 13 knowing what a cassette is. Now, I don't mean to rag on the younger generations, I'm really not. It's just there was a post, I feel like it's 3 years old now, of someone finding a cassette in a river during one of their river trawls, and it's covered in mud, and they go, is this some sort of Civil War relic? And to this day, it might have been a joke, But I like to think that it wasn't, and people genuinely don't know what cassettes are anymore. That is terrifying.
A little bit. He's back, baby.
Aw.
Oh.
Something found
double
family.
O.
Hey, Dino's got the common sense to dodge the electric bolts.
Oh, people that talk like that into phones really bug me.
Okay.
Normally, because they put the phone on speakerphone. Just out in the universe.
Well, yeah, that's obnoxious no matter who you are.
Yeah.
That being said, are you noticing that this isn't just a fun cartoon, it's also teaching you some shit?
Yeah.
Well, that's fucking cool visually.
Yeah, just lighting up all the windows with...
I'm fucking digging it.
Yeah.
I wish more cartoons had a bit of freedom with their art style, because I call it generic Western crap. Tends to be the safe style most people go for.
Yeah. They tend to call it Cal Arts because most of it is learnt at the California Arts Institute, and that's why it all looks the fucking same.
Maybe. But, you know, I think it certainly helps whenever someone bucks a trend, because it really does help you stand out. And it usually looks interesting. Like, I don't think we've talked about it a lot because it would be a pretty dull podcast if we just kept leaning on it, but like the style of this is just so charming.
Yeah. Like, I've seen stills and they don't do it justice.
No.
Because the whole benefit is, like, seeing it in motion is just a treat.
Yeah.
Like, every single screenshot is a reasonable screenshot. But it's nothing compared to seeing it animated.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, this fight is a treat.
Hmm. Oh, Buffman's here as well. Oh, he's standing on it.
She just Jimmy rig a drone.
More than that, she jury-rigged a drone lightning rod.
Well, no, I knew the rod part. I just meant the elements of lift.
Well, she had that as part of a backpack earlier on in the fight scene.
Okay.
So she had like a little mini whirligig jetpack that she was jetting through the air on. Which is a pretty cool not power to make into your toolkit.
Sure. I'll be honest with you, because I knew nothing about this, I generally thought she'd have moon powers.
But no, seems like she's just named after someone who potentially worked on the moon landing.
Yeah.
Their arms are the same size.
Hey, Bubba Beaner!
Her turbine's back. I would hate to see this reduced to live action.
Oh, dude, don't get me started. Like we said it the other day when we talked about Spider-Verse, is that a lot of people's ambitions for their thing is they want to see it in live action, but live action is not the be-all, end-all, perfect media form. And it really bugs me when people like take something and they're just like, oh, fuck's sake. When they take something and they're like, I want to see this in live action, but that's not the best form.
Yeah, totally. I think it's because they grew up seeing live action as like the pinnacle of Hollywood.
Sure, certainly.
And therefore not respecting animation to the degree that, in my opinion, it really should be.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the end of the first episode of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. What did you think?
Well, other than the fact that it was clearly more than one episode.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was slow to get off the ground, but once it did, I enjoyed every minute of it. Like, it was, it had a lot of heart. The animation style was very stylistic, which is something we don't always see. And when it was in its element, it looked fantastic. How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, not much to say different than you, really. It was a good, strong start. I think they really got away with a trick here, making it 2 episodes long, because usually when we watch an intro episode, it always suffers the same problem, and that is they need to set up set up the world, set up the characters, which they did in the first 22 minutes, and then they got to actually resolve their first big issue in the back half of the episode, which was clearly meant to be an episode 2.
Yes.
But I might be wrong. I've not actually checked out the runtime of other episodes. Maybe every episode's 44 minutes long, but I doubt it.
Yeah, you could see there were like 4 ad breaks in this, so it looks to have been made around the expectation of being on the Disney Channel, where you could just break for ads and come back to it a few minutes later.
Yeah, certainly. Very different from the Owl House Season 3, where they knew it was all going to get pumped straight onto the YouTubes.
Yeah, Disney YouTube.
But yeah, there's not much else to say other than getting to our regular wind down, eh? So with that in mind, do you have a favourite moment?
As much as I want to say the fight scene, the actual favourite moment was between Lunella and Casey gushing about grandmas. It was just a really wholesome bonding moment.
Not just grandmas, specifically our main character's grandma.
Yeah. and Casey just goes, grandma's the best. And yeah, it was just a real cute moment. Like, we need more grandma appreciation. How about you? What was your favourite moment?
My favourite moment was, the fight scene does deserve an honourable mention because it was stellar, but my actual favourite moment was when Devil Dinosaur got hit by the lightning. It was a very I don't know if stylistic's the right word, but it was an interesting shot, especially with the way of his emoji heart just breaking to indicate that, yes, actually, this is really fucking painful.
Yeah, it's implied that that's the first time he's had his ass kicked.
It certainly seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't only talk about the good, we also have to talk the bad. So, Rick, what is your weakest link?
My weak link is the contrived conflict where Lunella is driving both Devil Dinosaur and Casey away as a way to protect them, whereas if either of them knew the full story, neither of them would allow it. It obviously gets resolved, but like it's one of those whole have the conversation moments again, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a trope that gets under my skin quite a bit because it gets used so often. The only saving grace is the fact that our main character is 13, so she's not quite experienced enough to know that, yeah, this is fucking stupid, so she gets a bit of a pass. But yeah, you're right, that trope is one that really irritates me.
Yeah, how about you? What's your weakest link?
My weakest link is the fact that we've got no hints as to where this is going. I don't know if it's going to be a villain of the week type thing or if it's going to be an overarching story. At the moment, it looks like villain of the week, but where do you go from a super high-powered villain that controls electricity? Because that's a pretty high fucking first stepping stone.
Yeah, totally.
It's going to be interesting. But I'd certainly put that in a weak link category because the first episode of something is meant to give you a bit of a vague idea as to how it's going to be going forward. But yes, we don't like to end on a no note. We like to end on a high. So to that end, Rick, who is your coveted MVP?
Well, it's Lunella. Well, do I give it to Lunella the character or do I give it to the animation department? Both of them have a very good shot at this because as a character, Lunella tied it all together pretty well. I didn't feel any scene with her was super wasted. Yeah, it's going to have to go to animation. So the animation department for keeping this art style together, making every shot charming. So yeah, that's going to be from me. How about you? Who's your MVP?
My MVP goes to the gym teacher for keeping it together. No, I'm joking. I think Marvel shows and superhero shows, especially especially their first episodes, are carried more by their villain than the protagonist usually. And she was such a piece of work that I've got to give it to the villain in this one, whose name already escapes me. It was like Aftershock or something, right?
I think it was Aftershock, yeah.
Yeah, it does help that both of us kind of wanted a banger, not gonna lie. But, you know, she, like, stealing power and causing blackouts is a real dick move in the first place. And then you've also got the fact that she is just a horrible piece of work when she's in her civilian guise. So, you know.
Yeah, so apparently it gets fully expanded upon that she did just get pulled into the power grid and having an uncertain doom.
Yeah, sure, it's Electro again. That's fine.
Yeah, so she don't reappear as far as we know.
Okay, that's fine. But, you know, I think she was definitely a worthwhile first antagonist. I don't know how... I don't know how they're going to give bigger threats than that. That's a pretty big local threat. Guns, I guess. But, yeah, anyway, that's that. That's the first episode of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur in the books. Overall, I think we both enjoyed it. Bear in mind that we have the comment section down below if you want to give us your own thoughts and or want to give suggestions for future episodes. Failing that, or, you know, straight up you're not watching via YouTube but instead listening via one of the many audio platforms, you can instead send an email to
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
Yes. And that's going to be a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.